did a little additional programming, and I've gotten it a lot closer to the way I actually would want it to be. So now all the control point signals, as you notice, are red over red. And I've got it set so they don't clear until a train comes into, to approach the signal. So I'll kind of show you how that works. So this is the one end here of Wallace Junction, and it won't normally go clear. I won't say green, or it depends on the aspect it should show, until a train comes through 97, which is basically the control point block preceding it. Actually, until it gets into the block right here. Best I could do for now, just because of the double track and the crossovers and multiple ways to enter the block. The samples shown in the MRI manuals, it's very simple. Overly simple, I think. It's single track, going through from a passing siding to a control point, or vice versa. Where when you've got double track with crossovers and other tracks coming in interlockings, it can give you a little more difficult, at least for me. I'm no expert. But we'll show how this works. Here's our little test train. That's our little Athearn Genesis MP15AC, I think. I just bought it. So I'll say good morning. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run him around. Oops. Throttle turned off, so he went back to going forward. Now when he comes around, I'll crank him up here a little bit. He's going to go through the interlocking, then he's going to go through the block, and then we'll see this signal here will actually change. I don't think I can get them both in the scene, but that way it's a little bit more realistic, in that when you're running the train, you'll walk around and see reds until, okay, so he just went there into the block preceding it, and now the signal goes clear. It'll stay clear now till he comes through the signal and drop to red and stay red. It's not perfect, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Alright, so here's what's not quite perfect. So he's come in the block here, and that's all well and good. Now that signal, it's going to say clear, like I said, till he goes through and knocks it down. Or if I throw, it still works, the logic on the signal works the way it was before. If I throw crossovers in his face, it'll go red. If I throw the switch to go into the branch line, it'll go red over yellow. So all that still works. The issue being, again, since we don't have a dispatcher, if he were now to reverse and basically back up, that signal is going to stay clear. So for example, I'll go ahead and run through them here. So it will drop, so it'll go to red, and now it's going to stay red until we get an approach to the block. But the issue comes up, like if you're doing switching or something like that. Once you come into a block and it sets the direction of traffic, it's not going to drop that signal or give you another clear, for example, until you change and clear the direction of traffic. It's kind of hard to explain, and it's not the end of the world. Let me see if I can come up with a little better way to explain it, because that might have made absolutely no sense to anybody. All right, so this might explain it a little bit better. And this is just part of a problem, not a problem, but it's the situation with trying to do things automatically with no actual dispatcher. So let's assume he's in the interlocking here. He's going to do some switching, and he decides to pull out through this signal, which is now appropriately, all at stop. So he pulls out. He comes into this block, and now he wants to go back. Let's say he wants to whatever. He wants to return. No matter what I do, I can't change that signal, because he came into the block heading westbound. It set the direction of traffic to this block westbound, and in fact what it did, if you come over here, this might show up, it actually set the signal over there at 97 to clear, because if you can see that signal right there on the left, it's clear because he came in the block, and it's all one big block, with an intermediate. But So that's going to happen, and that's going to stay green until he backs out of the block and the block clears up. So that's one slight issue. Again, if we had a manned dispatcher's desk, the dispatcher could then clear that signal there on the right hand side to to whatever. If I was thrown to go to the branch, the dispatcher doesn't set the indication. He just would clear the block, and it would go red over yellow, or it's going to go straight and proceed, say, back into the yard. But for switching moves, I'm not going to get that signal to change when it's just, say, Steve and I down here operating. It's just the best I think I'm going to be able to do with the automatic operation. There'll always be some compromises with automatic operation, so we can just pretend that he gets permission from the dispatcher, and then he goes through the signal, and then he proceeds on his merry way. And again, if he comes through this interlocking here, the way this one's set up, he's going to come through, and as he comes through this signal over here, alright, this shows that some of the logic still does work, because as you notice, he came in the block. That signal for him did not clear. The reason being, if you see up there, the block's occupied. So it is smart enough to know that, nope, I'm not going to give you a clear signal because the block is occupied. Now, if I go and I throw that switch, let's say to bring him into the yard, then I should get a better indication, allowing him to go into the interlocking and then over there on the right into the yard. So I'm going to stop him there, and then we're going to go see if I throw that signal, and by myself today, so pardon the pause, and then let's see if that signal clears. So the switch gets thrown to go into the yard. You can see now I have a red over yellow. So he now can proceed, into the interlocking, and then up in there on the right hand side into the block. So like I said, the automatic protection and stuff does still work. I really didn't change any of the logic at all to the signal indications. The only difference being that they're now, all set to, I'll call it red over red, stop, until there's a train approaching it. Again, it's not perfect. There's some issues where, just not having a manned dispatcher's desk, there's some things you can't do, but I think it's a lot better in that all the interlockings now will, display red over red until a train approaches it. So a little bit accurate, more accurate, I think. Well, it definitely is, because having two ends of a control point both show clear is definitely a no-no. So we got that working, and that definitely helps with the realism. Again, not perfect, but the next step will be, to come up with a version of the program. It'll be very similar, just adding some more graphics, and all signals, all control point signals, stay, red, stop until the dispatcher physically clears it. And again, we're not going to have a lot of time when we're going to need a dispatcher, but I will get that program done. So we do have it. But for now, at least we have a little bit more accurate, a little more prototypically correct operation of the signal system. A few minor issues just because of the automatic nature of it, but not too bad. It certainly looks a lot better, a little more accurate than having all clear aspects around the whole layout. Okay, one other thing I did, just because I wanted to kind of try it, this is one of the Dream Players by Precom. Basically, it's a sound player. Uses a micro SD card, which I have sitting in there. And I had some sounds on it. I loaded it up before and did some custom sound files and whatnot. And it's powered up off the 5-volt bus. And the top green wire there is the trigger wire, which goes back to the S-Mini down there in the bottom right row of terminal boards. But I just wanted to kind of get it in, see how it sounds and if it works. And I haven't yet got it triggered from the computer. I got to add a button or something like that, for now at least. Eventually I'd like to have it run, if you're running the program, have kind of a clock running, so it can play some morning sounds and then kind of get a little quieter, and then some evening sounds with other things. So it does work. For now I trigger it manually. So right now if I do trigger it, and I'm borrowing the speaker my son gave me. Now this is a powered speaker. Hopefully you can hear that. So those are the sounds, and somewhere in here, we'll probably try to hide that speaker. One of them. I have two other Dream players as well. I said this area here, the thought being it's going to be wooded, maybe a farm, a little pond. So that'd be an area for birds and frogs and cicadas and locusts and crickets and everything. So it sounds pretty decent. I might buy one of their little amplifiers and use some different speakers or something like that. But again, let's just kind of try it, see if I can get it worked up, make sure the power works with it. And then the next step would be to get a trigger off of the computer, which I think I can do just with a command button. So again, this area here will be something wooded with a farmhouse and whatnot. So got that hooked up as well. So kind of fun. And I think it's just got 4 different tracks on it now. I can toggle through the different tracks. And I decided to put it near the front of the layout, so that in the future, if you want to go in, and access the sound card, it's not buried way underneath the layout. So I can come in, just move the curtain, come in here and get the card out and do other things with it. For now, it's manual, which you could always do for now. It's no problem with that. That turns it off, then this will go to the next track. This being one of the quieter, perhaps one of the nighttime tracks. So, we'll see. Now let's see if I can dream up a little, dream up for a Dream player, a button on the program to run it from the form that we have. Alright, another nuance that we're going to have based on the automatic operation is when you turn the layout on, and since this train was sitting here on the main occupying this block and didn't move into the block, the direction of traffic approaching that signal is set to NDT, or no direction of traffic. So with no dispatcher, that signal will never go clear. So in order for him to depart, he's going to have to basically go through a red signal, only because there's no way to get that signal to clear with the automatic operation. So he just has to understand that we're actually going to get permission to depart in that manner. That's just the way it's going to look a little bit odd if you start off on the main line, let's say, and you don't move into a block. And this can also be illustrated. So now I'm going to back him up. So let's assume he's doing some switching. So he's going to do some switch. He's going to come back, and if we look real quick down here at the signal on his track at the far end, it's red. It's stop, which is the way it was. But as soon as he comes into the block, since now he's occupying it, it's going to go clear. So if you're switching, that might look a little bit odd at times. Although it is clear. I mean, he can go because there is nothing coming. So it's a proper indication. But again, normally, if sorry about that. If he's in here switching, he might go past that signal, but probably not. He's probably just going to drop or add a car or something like that. So that's a little bit of a quirk, because again, that signal will go clear. Now I didn't drop the red because I don't have detectable wheel sets on it, but so that's just another slight little, I'll call it a nuance, I guess, when you're working with automatic signals. And like I said, that signal for him will really never go clear until he completely unoccupies and comes back into the block. That's just the nature of the beast. So just another little thing we'll have to deal with and be aware of when we are operating with no dispatcher. Alright, one thing we wanted to try to get done here with the program, since it's all running, is the crossing. Now you can see they're just laying there right now, but we do have it all hooked up to the card, temporarily at least. We have the connections for the speaker and the tortoise and everything, because everything's there and working, because we have everything set up. So I was like, well, why don't we just temporarily hook it up and try it? And in keeping with the full transparency, it does work. We do have some problems, but we'll go ahead and kind of show where we are. So here's our little, that's our little test engine down there, and he's just outside the approach block. It's actually broken into 2 blocks for the signal system. One from right about where the gondola is up to the signal bridge, and then another one that comes up to where the island starts, which is right about here. And then the island runs through to here, and then the approach block on this side is just 1 block over to about here. So we have things pretty well set up. Again, you can adjust a lot of stuff with this card, so it's pretty nice. So we'll just kind of show, we'll have Steve-O run this bad boy. We're going to run him in. When the bells go, there's a delay till the motor goes. The motor gets down, the bell stops, everything keeps flashing. He comes across, we'll clear the island, motor goes up, lights go off, and everything, so everything works with the subroutine and everything like that, except for a quick problem. So we'll show you that in a second. Everything worked fine. You saw for the train going that direction, cleared the island, the circuit deactivated, and everything was fine. But for some reason, when he comes this way, he'll come through, he'll go across, and it won't deactivate until he actually clears the approach block way over here. Now that's not right, because it should stop, you know, once he clears the island, which is right about here. Here's roughly where the road is, so the island over to about here. So as soon as he clears that, it should deactivate, but it's not. So I got to look at the code. Again, I don't claim to be an expert, but for some reason, it's not thinking it should deactivate until it gets all the way out. And we also don't have the time delay working. When he comes around, for example, if he would come around and stop short of the island, either direction, if he doesn't activate that, after 20 seconds, that's the number I picked now, the circuit should deactivate. And then it should start again once he comes and crosses the island, you know, very slowly, obviously, then the circuit activates. So I don't know why the timeout's not working, so I got to figure that one out too. But other than that, I might want to tie in, I'm not sure, logic from that signal, and that, for example, that signal now there that shows approach, if it was stop and a train, you know, comes around and activates, you know, normally it would mean he'd stop clear of the island, so I won't have the circuit activate if that signal is displaying a stop. Now it still would activate if he comes in regardless and goes into the island. It would always activate if you occupy the island. But we'll see. I don't know if I want to tie that in or not, but certainly can do it. So a little work to do. So we'll have him, go ahead and bring him the other way. So he'll come in. We'll start. About a 2-second delay till the gates go down. It's down. Bell stops when the gates are down. He comes across. And now, unfortunately, right now, the circuit should deactivate, but it doesn't. For some reason, until he gets all the way out of the approach block, which is somewhere right about there, then it deactivates. And there goes the gates, and the gates are up. Flasher stop. So a little more work to do, but we just want to show this part here and the continuing fun that is programming the logic on the layout. Alright, so I did a little monkeying around. I think I got the timeout figured out. So we're going to run this guy in. Go ahead and bring him into the... He goes in. And it starts. A delay. The gates go down. Now we're going to stop him short of the island. So we'll stop him short of here. Right, that's good. Alright. So he'll stop. Now we have to let the timer run down, which I set to 45 seconds, so I'll pause it here for a minute. Alright, so we pause it there. It's down about 7 seconds or so. And it should time out. There it goes. So there goes the gate. So the 45-second time ran. And everything stops. And he's sitting there. Now if he were to start, he'll have to come in and creep up to the crossing as slow as he can. And as soon as he hits right here, which is the island, he'll go again. And he'll creep across. Make sure the road's clear, and then he can go on his merry way. So at least we got that figured out. I still haven't figured out why, like for example, when he's going in this direction and clears the island, I don't know why they don't clear. I gotta look into the code somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong in my call statement or something. But so again, until he clears the entire approach, these won't deactivate. The crossing won't deactivate, which is not right. It's got to be fixed. So as soon as he goes through here, which is the end of the island, everything should deactivate. So I don't know why that is, but we'll keep working it. Something to look at. And then that's probably going to be it for this update. So I want to get Steve some time to go ahead and get it done. Coming up again, I know we keep saying we're going to do scenery. We will. I think we might start back in here, try to get some of that scenic, and or at least get some of the other ground in, maybe around here, see how that looks, and then work out here in the peninsula between Wallace Junction, Lake City, and up in the peninsula. At least get the forms in, and if we're going to extend things out here, you know, kind of get that stuff kind of figured out and done. But definitely do want to start that. So got a little more work here to do on this crossing. Figure out why in the world it won't clear going westbound. But of course, get it installed. Get the remote mount for the tortoise and get everything in and hooked up, and hopefully all the linkages work on the layout. At least operationally, I know now it works. And the program works. Now it's just getting it physically installed where we want it, and then moving ahead with scenery. So thanks for watching. More to come. Everyone have a great week.